Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Our title sponsor on deadline day is, and every day, is Able Auctions. It is Monday. Our guests today, including Brendan Batchelor, standing by. Sponsored by Basant Motors. It's March Mayhem this month at Basant. Score yourself a great deal on a new-to-you vehicle. Learn more at BASANTmotors.com. Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox just before we get to Brendan. Unsigned. Sign those texts, folks.
Oh.
There's so many great thoughts here. We want to give you credit. NHL players don't realize how easy they have it when it comes to media attention, good or bad, compared to NBA, NFL, or European soccer players. Elite Major League Baseball players are in trade talks every single year. I know you cry a river when it comes to media attention in Vancouver.
Canadian markets are different. Go ask. You don't
tougher
think...
than European soccer markets?
Yes. Canadian markets are tougher, Don.
Okay.
I wish you made the NHL and you were playing in Montreal.
I wish I did too.
Anyways, and you played in Montreal or in Toronto when times were not good. You would know.
Here's the difference, Rick, that in hockey, with the National Hockey League, players have choices. You could go to a market where you have all sorts of media attention, a Canadian market. You can go to a market where you get a fair amount of attention, like Detroit, Boston, New York, or you can go disappear.
Yeah.
It's a unique situation in the NHL. NFL, Europeans, doesn't matter where you go, you're going to get all sorts of attention. Players have choices. That's the difference. You got something there?
No, it's about another team. Alexander Edler picked L.A. Donnie, gee, I wonder why.
Okay, I'm just saying that. Well, he has choices. That isn't the case with other sports. Let's get to Brendan here, voice of the Canucks on Sportsnet 650, as the Canucks win just 2 of 7 games on that important, that crucial homestand. Brendan, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
What did that Detroit loss do to the Vancouver Canucks?
Yeah, it really seems to, have crippled them here for the rest of the homestand. You look at another tough start against the Red Wings, and then they carry that through with tough starts to conclude the final 2 games of the homestand against the Flames and the Sabres. And now we're talking about a team that's lost 3 games in a row, that's lost ground in the playoff race, only has 18 games left in the season. And as we sit here now, about 90 minutes, a little bit less away from the trade deadline, it'll be interesting to see if they move any bigger pieces out as a result of some of the losses here that have really put a serious dent in their playoff hopes, which, to be honest, it was probably going to be a long shot for them anyways, but they couldn't afford to lose 3 in a row. And it's a tough way to conclude what, was a homestand coming into it that people were excited about with the potential opportunity for this team. And it just hasn't panned out for them, has it?
No, it hasn't, Brendan. And I heard you on 650 this morning. Everybody's asking this question of everybody, but how do you explain the slow starts?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. And, you can talk about the Canucks needing to improve their roster. You can talk about them needing to be a faster team. And those are fair criticisms. But, if you're a team that's down low in the standings or out of the playoff picture, if you don't have speed in your lineup, the things you can control are the way you prepare for games and your work ethic. And that seems to be an issue with this group, which is very concerning, not just for the short term, trying to make a playoff push this year, but for the long term in terms of the pieces you have in this locker room needing to lead and needing to make sure that the team is ready for the drop of the puck. And that was a culture that we saw in the past set by Daniel and Henrik Sedin and other players like them. And I don't think there's any coincidence that the last 2 members of the 2011 team, Chris Tanev and Alex Edler, leave in the last couple of years, and this suddenly becomes an issue for them.
Batch, you're around the team more than anybody else. Demko, I think his last day off was January 1st. If, I got to double, triple check that. But do you see a tired goaltender?
I'm starting to now, and they've been giving him practice days off. But, I think the fact that they went with him on the back-to-back speaks to how much they need him right now, or at least how much they felt they needed him at the end of this homestand to try and pick up some wins and stay in the playoff race. He's played more games this season than he's played at any level prior to this. It was bound to happen that he would get tired at some point. So they've got a couple of days between games now where, we'll see what they decide to do with the back-to-back coming up this week. But, he still, as much as he's a top 5 goaltender in the league, you still have to learn how to be that guy for 50-plus games, potentially 60-plus games. And that's something that Demko's going through right now that hopefully he'll be better for in seasons to come when they want to seriously mount a playoff push.
I know he shot down any controversy, Batch, but what did you make of Bruce Boudreau's public conversation with Yaroslav Halak on Saturday?
Well, I can understand Boudreau, wanting to downplay it, but I think it's clear that they've got a frustrated backup goaltender here. He was brought in as a veteran guy to complement Demko. It's possible that there were promises made to him about how many games he was going to play, what sort of role he was going to play. And certainly, I'm sure that hasn't happened. There's been, a management change and a head coaching change too. So if there were any promises made to Halak, the guys that made those promises probably aren't here anymore. So I'm sure he's very frustrated. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he would be open to a move today if the Canucks can find one for him. The question is, will they be able to after the way he's played here a little bit of late? But you have to feel for Halak to a certain extent as well, because he gave them a number of good starts early in the season, and they just didn't provide him any run support.
You are a hockey player, Brendan. What have the Canucks got in Travis Dermott, a defenseman, left-handed defenseman who's likely going to play on the right side?
Yeah, nice flexibility that they can play him on either side. So he can be a right shot guy, but, if they're able to shore up that side of the blue line, then they can move him over to the left side. He'll provide depth, likely on that third pairing. I wonder if they maybe give him a look with Quinn Hughes if they're going to play him on the right side here down the stretch this year. He's a mobile defenseman, not going to give you a lot of offense, but he can skate and provide some more mobility to that back end, which I think is sorely needed. And they get younger. The cap hit is less. There's team control for longer. So there's a lot of things to like about Travis Dermott joining this organization, even if, maybe he won't be the flashy offensive defenseman that some people might like. I think he'll provide a solid base level of play for them on the third pairing at the very least.
What was that building like on the weekend, going back to Thursday even?
Well, the whole homestand, it was great.
Okay.
Whether the fans were the Bruce There It Is chants or getting on the referees, trying to get behind the team. And I thought, going into the game on Saturday against the Flames, it kind of had a big fight feel in the building where people understood how important the game was going to be for the Canucks against the Flames. And then, of course, once again, here we are talking about the team having a slow start, getting behind the 8 ball, and the fans, kind of were taken out of the game to a certain extent at that point. But you get a real sense that people were excited to be back in the building, have been excited to be back in the building at 100% capacity, having important games here late into the month of March in this homestand. And it's just a pity that the team couldn't put forth a better performance on the ice because the fans have been great.
Brendan, fabulous as always, and we appreciate this. We'll be listening to you on 650 as always.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.